channel.
Hey, you know what time it is, No Press fam? Welcome everyone to another episode of The Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Class, and my co-host, Mr. J. And we'll be talking about two great gladiators today, so to speak. And if you guys like our content, you know what you can do. You can share, like, or subscribe, or turn on your notifications to get the latest episodes. All right, so let's get things started. I'll be representing Gladiator's Maximus. Brief origin story time. Let's get into it, guys. All right, so Maximus was a general for the Roman army. Not only just a general, he was one of the best for the the Roman legion. And he was the general for Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was impressed by Maximus' ability to lead, that he thought he would be great to lead as an emperor. So he offered him the job, but he gave him time to think about it. Now, before Maximus could come with the decision, Commodus, which is actually Marcus Aurelius' son, was told that he wasn't going to be emperor or king. And he didn't like that, so he eliminated his father. And he blamed it on Maximus. And Maximus was about to get executed in the forest, but then he managed to escape. Sadly, he escaped a little too late because, of course, this was a tragedy for our hero. But Maximus was married and had a child. And he was about to go home to him after almost being assassinated, but he found them being hanging at their house. So tragically, he suffered the ultimate price and the ultimate loss. Eventually, he wound up becoming a slave, and he wound up becoming a slave fighting as a gladiator in these little small underground places until he finally reaches the big leagues, and he meets in the actual stadium, Coliseum, that all the great ones have fought. And because of Commodus wanted to kind of get the people pumping on this, and Maximus was their bread and butter. Eventually, he got to meet Commodus again, and they got to have their little final battle. But yeah, I guess in a way, this is the brief origin story of Maximus. But yeah, the obstacles being thrown at him during the whole battle, or during the whole time he was in the gladiator arena, was crazy. Powers, abilities, and feats. Let's get into it. So there's not really much that can be said about powers, abilities, and feats. I mean, the only thing you really can't say is that he has really shown through the fights and the feats that he's really impressive. He fought a champion who won the gladiator arena before, he was a former champion. He fought an obstacle against tigers. He fought I want to say 3 or 4 guys all at once before they could actually kill him. He fought piles of men and armies. This guy has proven time and time again that he's a vicious guy. He even fought with someone chained to him who he did not know, and like weren't really like partners or anything, and they worked together, and he managed to win with this guy. So time and time again, Maximus showed that he was undefeated and pretty much unbreakable. And I gotta say, those feats alone are kind of impressive by itself. All right, guys, the end game time. Leonidas and Maximus. Let's get real. Leonidas is a pretty tough guy. He was pretty much born and bred into a life of being tough as nails. I mean, he's the perfect specimen of men, I guess, because they used to throw their babies into a cliff if they weren't good enough. They weren't strong enough. That's crazy. But luckily enough, Leonidas was, and he led, and he was a king. Now, the couple things that you could say about Maximus. Maximus was offered the chance to be an emperor, so he can't say he was technically going to be a king. He was a general, and he fought in the massive army with the Roman army, and he's won time and time again. He's also fought in many close environments and very intense pressures. You can say the same thing about Leonidas, considering he only had 300 men and he was fighting a swarm of armies. But here are the differences between Maximus and Leonidas. Both are very skilled. Both are very savage when it comes to fighting. So there's no way you can say that one's going to put one out easily. But here are the two things I will make as a point. The first one is Maximus got it done when it came to eliminating his enemy. Granted, Leonidas said he was going to make a king bleed, which is cool. But at the same time, even though he did kind of technically did that, he didn't really get the job done. He made him bleed, but he never got to, I think his name was Xerxes. Maximus, however, he was dying. He was bleeding out. And Commodus had the upper advantage. He even had a swarm of guards blocking a way of escape and everything. So Maximus had to fight him while he was dying. Okay, and even with all that, Maximus still took out Commodus. So I have to say, who got it done? Maximus will get it done, because if he got that done, sorry to say, Leonidas didn't get it done when it came to Xerxes, but Maximus did. So that's that one point I will make right there. That's the first point. The second point I'm going to make is this one. Both have fought in an army. They're both have led armies. They both fought in the armies. They've both dug into the blood of it all. Okay, let's get real with that. But there's one thing we can say for sure about Maximus. The second point being is he has been in different type of technique environments. Okay, what does that mean? I mean, you go to war, it's always going to be different, yes. But Maximus has been in war, and he's also been in a gladiator environment. Now, what does that mean? That means that he's also fought in closed environments and closed spaces. So even if Leonidas and him were to fight in a corner, it wouldn't mean anything to Maximus, because Maximus has fought in closed places, in closed environments. So he would be able to get a good fight in with Leonidas in this way. But because of that extra technique he got, that extra underground skill, he did not learn from generals, or he didn't learn it from the scholars or anything like that. He learned this from underground fighting. I do believe that little extra nudge or little extra edge of knowledge that he learned during his time battling in the gladiator arena will kind of give him more of a bloodthirsty ability to probably take Leonidas out if he needed to. So the 2 points I made already, and which is why I think we'll make the valid point, because you could both say they're equally matched when it comes to battling in a battlefield. They both survived, but the difference is that Maximus actually was almost going home. Leonidas never got to go home. He died, with honor, but the reality is he did die. So I will have to say that at the end of the day, when you look at both the characters, Maximus did die, but he got it done. So sorry to say, if Maximus could get Commodus, even bleeding out, and Leonidas couldn't get Xerxes, and the fact that he has that little extra knowledge of gladiator arena experience, I gotta say, that's just my point. Maximus has got this in the bag.
Okay guys, I will be bringing you 300's Leonidas. Now, King Leonidas, going back into his origin, let's see. The Spartans had this old school tradition, I believe it was called the agoge. I believe it was around age 7. As a young boy, they were pretty much taken from their mother, thrown into into this training program that's pretty much supposed to harden them and just turn them into soldiers. Now, going through this program, one of the things he was forced to do was he was forced to go into the wilderness and kind of fend for himself. It was there that he ran into this big wolf. Now, he killed the wolf, he came back, everybody was like, okay, Leonidas is this big hero, and it was, as it was his birthright, he eventually became king. Now, as the Persian Empire was coming in and they were invading, they asked him if he would, pretty much submit and, kind of give them some land and just say, okay, it's okay to pass through. Leonidas did not do that, and he pretty much took 300 of his best soldiers. So he gathered 300 of his best men, and he took the Persian Empire to war. He used the terrain and the area to kind of close off and nullify their numbers, to just kind of keep them in front of him, and they just kind of held him back after a while. Now, going into his abilities and feats, there's really nothing, I want to say, superhuman or unnatural about Leonidas, given that he is a mortal man. Now, however, one thing that separates him from a normal man is him, just like the rest of the Spartans, they are in peak physical condition. So they are also very extremely skilled fighters. Very smart, very tactitious, extremely skilled in hand-to-hand combat. The arsenal that they possess consists of a short sword, a spear, and of course their famous shield. Now, this shield hits like a truck, so Just if Maximus gets hit by that thing, it's game over. He's gonna at least get his bell rung. He can keep up with many opponents all at once. He can run at peak human speed, overpowered a Persian soldier who was definitely twice his size. So going into the end game, Leonidas is going to have to gauge the distance, and he can do that by using his spear. Now, once he gets into the right range where he has Maximus where he needs him to be, he can just nail him with that shield and that short sword. Just cut him up, and then when he's wounded from the sword strike, just hit him with that shield. Now, Maximus did use a shield in the movie, however, there is a size and I want to say a significant weight advantage with Leonidas' shield. And considering that he's in max physical condition and he's constantly used to training and fighting with this thing, he's going to have an upper hand while using it. Now, Maximus gets hit with this thing, it's over. Game over. That is pretty much the long and short of my answer.
So if you guys like my argument, you know what you can do? You can hashtag Maximus. And if you like my boy's argument, you know what you can do? You can hashtag Leonidas. And as always, no press fan, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.